Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Senator Tina Smith, and I'd like to welcome you all to another Tea with Tina. And I'm so excited today to have as my special guest Representative Mohamud Noor from Minneapolis. And welcome, Mohamud. It's so great to have you with me today.
Thank you, Senator, for having me. I appreciate you taking the time to invite me to this discussion. So thank you so much.
Well, it's a nice opportunity since we can't all be together in person as much as we wish we could, just to have a chance to have a casual conversation. And I'm so glad to be able to spend a little time with you. And since we're having tea, what kind of tea are you having today, Representative Noor?
I'm having tea with coffee, so it's kind of a chai tea coffee, so combined.
Oh,
yeah.
So did that happen on purpose, or did you just accidentally mix them, or?
No, I enjoy more coffee, so I just wanted to make the balance to go with the, the occasion today, which is tea with Tina. I appreciate you doing that, and I think we need to reach out to everybody so that we can have conversations in the living rooms where people can see us and talk to us directly and engage us in a different way.
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, this is being broadcast out today on Facebook Live, and we'll have a chance to have a lot of people be a part of this conversation, which is really great. And let me just start. So you represent House District 60B, right? Which is right next door, actually, to my home district.
That's correct. That's the Minneapolis District 60B, which includes the Twin Cities University of Minnesota in Minneapolis area. That's the southeast section, the Como neighborhood, Prospect Park, Nicollet Island, includes the City Riverside and Seward neighborhood areas. So it's a more condensed, more diverse district in the whole state.
It is. It's such an interesting district. It's very diverse, lots of different businesses, and just a really, really fascinating and wonderful part of the city, I think.
Absolutely. And I keep on telling people that I do have an island in my district in Minneapolis.
I know. I think I wouldn't, I'm pretty sure that Nicollet Island is the only full-time inhabited island in the whole of the Mississippi River. So that is a pretty distinctive, very distinctive.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Representative Noor, would you just start out by, I think you're such an important leader. You have such a strong voice at the state level, and you also have such an interesting, diverse experience. So would you just tell people a little bit about, your family and your life, and what made you decide that you wanted to be in the state legislature?
Well, great. I think I came here as an immigrant a few years ago, and part of my life was to help other people succeed as I started working in the community, in the neighborhood organization, then worked for Hennepin County for almost 4 years. And then seeing the need, I was actually advisor to the governor and legislature during even your time when you were there, so that I can help provide some guidance to legislative process through the Council on Black Minnesotans. And then I went to work for the state of Minnesota for 10 years, the Department of Health and Human Services, where I ended up becoming the person who was in charge of IT. I came here with no knowledge about education and got that opportunity, went to college, got a computer science degree. I ended up becoming the system management person for the state of Minnesota, for the entire systems that we have. So that gave me a different perspective. When you go to work from the local level or the neighborhood level to the city level, which you have, I think you experience when you work at the city hall, working with you through the community process, when you are working at the state, guiding all those principles, and now you're at the federal level. So I feel that my journey in terms of connecting to the people and seeing that I also served on the school board, the struggles that we see serving in Minneapolis public schools. My wife is a public schools teacher, second grade teacher in Minneapolis public schools, as they struggle through this pandemic, with 4 kids, 7-year-old, 9-year-old, who are in elementary school. And I also have a middle schooler who's a 12-year-old and a high schooler who's 14-year-old. I see those struggles, for so many families during this pandemic, as we do, distance learning, the hybrid learning, moving through the dials as we deal with this serious pandemic. This is a difficult moment for many families. And that actually, I think sometimes I feel this is why I moved to run for an office to address these challenges. But this is this is a really difficult moment when many people are facing housing insecurity, which we've really done a good job, even including when we had the fire in Cedar Riverside apartment. You acted swiftly and quickly and introduced the Public Housing Safety Act, which really was essential that we address the issue of safety in many places as we deal with also many challenges at the same time. So quite frankly, my journey has been from coming here as an immigrant, going through school, getting my education and seeing the challenges while I'm still also paying my student debt. I've got 4 kids that I need to be supporting. I don't have enough, saved money to address their need at the same time. That worries me. It worries many families who have got ELL students, students with disabilities who really need a lot of support so that we can address their safety and also their health, so that we can help coming back to normalcy, which is really a grim moment for the U.S. today when we reached 7 million U.S. Impacted by coronavirus. So that is something we need to come together. And I know we can, and we can come and rise together and achieve success.
I totally agree with you. And I just, it's so interesting because your life experience, gives you a personal connection with what so many families are going through, whether it is struggling to figure out how to make sure that your kids are safe and learning in the midst of a pandemic, when you've got working parents, issues around school debt. It's really, I think it just gives you such an excellent window into the midst of this. And I'm really curious about something, because I've been traveling. I've been going all over the state, some in person and some virtually, doing very careful about social distancing and masks and so forth. But I just am hearing from people a lot of what I'm hearing you say, which is that there is a real understanding that we face deep challenges in our country in this moment: health challenges, economic challenges, challenges around race and racial equity, climate challenges, housing challenges. And I hear from people that they are looking for leaders to certainly have empathy into what's happening in their lives, but also to have the capacity to be bringing us together rather than just driving us apart. And I'm wondering if that's what you're hearing in 60B from your constituents. Are they, people I think are sort of exhausted by what we have been going through in this country and are looking for some sort of leadership that's strong and empathetic and based on okay, where do we go from here?
Absolutely. And I think people are looking for hope rather than fear. They're looking for guidance when listening to the scientists of what is necessary for us to come together to rise up during this difficult time and address the pandemic head on. And I think there's lack of that nationwide, program or systematic way of addressing coronavirus, as we have seen from small countries who have done a good job. So that fear of what's happening on the ground, not knowing what will happen tomorrow, when many people are already struggling with financial insecurity, that they're not able even to pay their mortgages, their rent. Some people who are on unemployment, and that has not been fixed when the House did their act and the Senate failed. So those are things that many people are asking us to look and see the civil unrest, many businesses who have been impacted after the murder of George Floyd, and so many other things that many folks are asking, where do we go from here? They want us to guide them, to lead them, to show them empathy, to show them hope, to show them that we can come together as a society and thrive together. And those are things that they're asking for. They're not asking for a whole lot of things. They're asking to be able to have a family where they can come together and achieve the successes, the American dream that many of us feel that it's slipping away from many families. Those are simple steps that I can send my kids to college, that I can bring back some income at home and have a roof over our heads. When you talk about the affordable housing, affordable home ownership, when we see the homelessness in our state and nationwide, and we are not addressing those issues, many people are worried and they're concerned about their future for their families. People
are trying to figure out how to make their lives work, how to make sure that things are just, working the way they're supposed to be working. And I think that is what we need to be focused on. How do we support that? And I have always found that my constituents don't expect me to solve all their problems, but they
Absolutely.
at least expect me to try to make a difference and be useful. And, I wanted to ask you about one thing that I know you care a lot about, and it's so important in your district, the opportunity for entrepreneurship and small business growth, especially among new immigrant communities and Black and Brown communities. It's such an important way for people to build economic stability and build wealth. And you've done work on this, the launch project that you worked on. Let's see, I want to make sure, Launch Minnesota project,
yes.
I think gets at this. Could you just talk a little bit about how you see that effort in this moment? Because I think it's very important, and especially an important way of getting at the issues around racial inequity and racism when it comes to Black and Brown families, people of color being able to build economic opportunity.
Indeed, I think Launch Minnesota is one of the new programs we established at the state during the past legislative session. This was actually something that I dreamt about. This is about encouraging people to become more entrepreneurs in terms of the technology that we have. We've got so many medical companies here. So to provide young people that opportunity of getting grants to become IT and technology that are connected to things that we need when it comes to farming or healthcare or many other aspects, we lead the nation. And we don't want to have that vacuum when everything goes to the Silicon Valley. We want to provide the pipeline right here in Minnesota. And I think we can. We used to be the leaders in the state, in the whole nation when it comes to the IT and technology, and providing that small grant, that opportunity that many people feel this is something that they needed in order for them to invest in themselves and also get the support. It's not only providing the grants, we're also providing the support through many entities who are willing to see these young people, the small business owners, thrive in the state of Minnesota. And that's what we want. We want creativity, we want innovation, things that will get us to the next level. As we talk about the digital divide, we're talking about providing border-to-border broadband system. I think we've got a long way to go, but I think these small steps that we're taking, providing that entrepreneurship to many folks who are really relying. And I think that's a sector that we need to look into. How do we engage more folks to move into the business? Small business are the engine, the economic engine for our state, for our nation. And I think providing them the support that they need, even during this pandemic. I think we've seen the failures of the administration when it came to the Paycheck Protection Program and also other resources, where they left out the people of color, indigenous, where they did not provide clear guidance, even when the House moved forward to add those additional support. Nothing came out of it. So I think we have a long way to go, but I think encouraging people with entrepreneurship, making sure we rebuild Lake Street and Broadway and University Avenue, those are the places that have been impacted, shows the need. It's mostly people of color, indigenous, immigrants who are.
And those businesses are so important for creating opportunity in the community. And I completely agree with you. I've been working hard on making sure that Paycheck Protection Program is getting to the very smallest businesses, exactly the businesses that you would be connecting with through the Launch Minnesota program. And maybe, one person or one or two people, or maybe it's a small business that is basically a family-run business. And those businesses have just not gotten those PPP loan programs, and that's what we're working so hard to fix in this next round of COVID relief. And then, don't you also think, Mohamud, that as we emerge from this emergency and this crisis, the long-term needs for expanding access to capital for businesses of color is such a big opportunity, and something that I'm really eager to work on. I'm hoping from my position on the banking committee, where I have a chance to have an impact on that.
Absolutely. I think the Village Credit Union and others who were coming to the forefront in terms of addressing the unbanked, underbanked, and so many people who don't have access to credit who don't have access to, thriving. I've had from a young person who came to testify about the need that he has, economic need. And when he applied for the SBA loans, he was denied. And when he applied, because simply he didn't have the credit needed, and yet he's one young person who's thriving. So we need to remove the barriers for so many people to get the opportunities that they need. There's so many businesses who don't have well-connected individuals, who don't have the lobbyists who are going to be advocating for them. We are their advocates, and I think I appreciate you taking the lead in terms of addressing that.
That's work that I'm very eager to do, and it reminds me that in order to be able to do that work and really make the difference that we need to make, we have to win these elections. Yes. And that makes. I want to ask you a little bit about what you are seeing in your district around people's engagement in the election, their interest in getting out the vote, and what kind of voter outreach you're doing, and what are you hearing from people?
So I'll give you a quick example. I think the election is going to be starting on September 18th. I keep on telling people election is never on November 3rd anymore. This is going to start on September 18th. So one of my precincts was the lead in the whole state. I'm assuming that is correct with the absentee voting. That's the city of Riverside, predominantly immigrant community. People with limited English proficiency, if they can do it, if more than 1,500 people voted absentee, we can all do it. And I think they're more excited, more engaged. They want to go, they're ready to go. So I think, how do we activate that process? I was in Chaska, last night, talking to voters across the board, meeting with so many folks so that we can engage and mobilize and organize our communities. This is not the moment to stay out of this election process. I met a young person yesterday who didn't vote in 2016 because she thought her vote did not matter. I told her, by doing that, by showing a protest vote is just giving up your rights, giving up what you should be achieving as a community. So whatever we end up with, it's what we do in this few days that are remaining to engage more people to turn out. Yeah, I think people are ready. Yeah, they're ready.
I think that's right. I think people are very, very motivated, and the complacency is our enemy in this moment. Right. The opportunity to shape the direction of this country, and I really believe that this election is about the future of our democracy. And if you had any doubt about that, to see the way in which the president used the people's house that belongs to we the people as a prop in his political campaign last week, it was more motivating to me than just an additional piece of motivation, and the opportunity for people to make their voices heard in this moment is just so important. And September 18th is the first day that we can vote, and we need to be doing everything we can to vote as soon as you can. Either by mail, or if you want to vote in person, you can still vote in person starting on the 18th as well. And that's a possibility for a lot of people also.
Correct. I think this is the most important election of our lifetime. I know people have heard about that many times, but this is indeed the most important election of our lifetime, which we have never seen like ever before. So we need to vote as if our lives depend on it, because it does. By voting, we will be making a difference. We want to unify. We want to move ahead as one nation, one state, and one community. And I think we can come together. We can rise to this occasion collectively, because we're in this together, and we can do that.
Yeah, that's right. This is, we need each other in this moment. Nobody, you and I are both elected, have positions of authority because we're elected, but we both know that neither one of us can do this all on our own by a long shot. We need all of us.
Absolutely. And that's the only way we can view this election. And I think many folks have already submitted their requests for absentee. If you haven't done that, you can go to the Secretary of State and do it today. And if you want to know where you will be voting in by going to the site for the absentee voting, go online, check it through your county, your city, if they're providing that. And I think we need to be able to know, we need to start planning where we're going to be voting, how we're going to be voting today, not tomorrow. And I think we can do it. Many folks have already been doing that for a long time.
What's really great about the Secretary of State website, I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but when you go in there to request your absentee ballot, then you can track your ballot. So like it's been mailed, You can then, when you return it, you can see when the ballot has been received. So you don't have to worry about whether something happened to your ballot that you don't know about. And if that is something that is, I think, just makes it that much more secure and something that you can really count on if you're concerned about that.
And you can also register right there on, and you can check your registration if it's still correct and also updated online without having to fill any form. So this is one of the beauty of our system is we have a strong Secretary of State who has been investing in ensuring that we protect our rights, we protect our votes. And I think it's up upon us to make sure that we do the right thing to ensure that everybody votes and everybody who needs help gets the right help in order for their votes to be counted.
Representative Noor, I always ask guests, because I think there's so many great places that people don't know about to go and have tea or a bite to eat. For somebody who's listening to this who hasn't had a chance to visit your district, is there any place in particular that you'd want to tell people that they ought to check out?
There are many places, sometimes speaking of
a good politician will never name just one.
Well, I'll give you, sometimes I go to Afro Deli, Kahin, who has been phenomenal. There's an Afro Deli at the university, so it's a good place to meet and also provide. He has been a kind person to the community and also creating opportunity for many folks. So Afro Deli on university, actually it's on Washington. In the university neighborhood area is one of many places that you can visit and grab something and enjoy the tea over there because they've got a nice chai Somali tea.
Yes, delicious chai Somali tea. Everybody needs to try it.
But I also wanted to thank you for your fight for what's happening in Oromia right now in Ethiopia. Jawara Mohammed, Misha Chiri, who are lingering in jail and are waiting for their release. That freedom, we talk about multiple things, but we also address the global issues. When we see injustice, we need to come together no matter where we are, because it's going to impact all of us. So 2 Minnesotans who are right now asking that you have sent a letter to the secretary so that they can be, that issue can be addressed. I know many folks are asking us to do something about it. The Oromo community, we're with them, we're standing with them as they deal with this difficult moment too.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. And I think the assassination of Hachalu, the wonderful Ethiopian musician, has been such a loss and spurred the civil unrest in Ethiopia that has been, has caused, I think, some pretty significant damage to human rights. And we see this happening specifically with these 2 Minnesotans. So I'm doing everything I can to fight for their just treatment. And that's very important. Well, Representative Noor, thank you so much for joining me today. It's wonderful to see you and to be with you, even virtually. And I want to just remind everybody that we need to, as Mohamud and I are saying, we need to stay engaged and stay involved. If you want to know what more you can do, you can go to mobilize.us/Team Tina, and you'll be able to find out how more to be involved as we work on this election up and down the ballot, from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to this most important Senate race that I am running, and the very, very important legislative races, including re-electing Representative Mohamud Noor. So thanks, everyone. Great to see. Yeah, take care.